We're on GB News with Andrew and Michelle, and we've got the panel here. They are Statton and Waldorf, our very own former Labour MP Stephen Pound, and broadcaster Mike Parry. You have to keep them you have to work very hard to keep them.
Well, I have to keep myself under control. I'm excited to be in the same room as you two.
Well, the honour is all ours.
No, I think you've added lustre to the cluster.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Oh, by the way, Barry, one of our viewers, has been in touch. He says, will you stop patronising pensioners? We are as computer literate as any other age group in society. We grew up with computers and he can understand them.
But
pensioners always moaning.
Not to be part of the
Indeed,
internet. They don't want to be part of internet bank, and they certainly won't want to have a digital ID.
Not everybody is a silver surfer.
Let's talk about the budget.
Isn't it exciting? We've got a date for the budget.
Yes.
Now,
the latest possible.
November 26th. Now, I've already worked this out, OK?
Is it Christmas Eve?
No, I've made a couple of phone calls. One theory is...
What, to the Treasury?
No, one theory is that by November the 26th, most people will have put in the major spending for Christmas. They'll have booked Christmas lunch. They'll have bought all the presents. They'll have arranged the weekends away and going home for Christmas and the travel and all that. And the thinking is that it's going to be a terrible budget. We all know that. It can't be anything else. But it'll be too late for people to start moaning about it, because what they had to spend on for Christmas, they will have spent on. Now they've got the notice, everybody's going to get in now and try and get it out the way before the budget.
Well, hang on a second. It's a great conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory, Stephen. It's because I put two and two together and come up with four.
Well, you should be in the Treasury, obviously.
Yeah, I should.
But look, Stephen, it is a very late budget.
It is, I know, but don't forget...
We've never had one this late.
I think, one of the other arguments having a very, very late budget in this particular case is that you just hope to God that something comes up. You hope things improve slightly.
Yes, but I'm sorry, if she was thinking that, she should have gone earlier, because things are going to get worse.
They are.
They're going to get worse all the time.
Thing, if you have it as late as that, people will say, oh, it's the Grinch that stole Christmas. The closer you get to Christmas, the more the headlines, and it won't, not journalists like you two, but some of the more sort of cheaper journalists would actually come up with, so there's Christmas ruined for it.
But also, I'm sorry.
It's another big vacuum in which it will be filled with lots of speculation about what she's going to do.
Totally, but also...
That's more significant.
Also, the spotlight will be taken off it because of Christmas. You see what I mean? People start moaning and whinging after the budget, but then they've got to get busy with Christmas, and then we're into the new year. Parliament goes home, OK, so they're not there. But listen, the other thing I can't work out, and Andrew, you've got a much greater brain than me, a story on the front of the Telegraph, PM to push through welfare cuts. So this must involve the budget, because we know she's either got to put up taxes or cut spending. He's already failed once to cut welfare spending.
And it wasn't very much either.
It's $5 billion, that's not very much. This week, he has appointed 3 major heavy tax specialists who specialise in taking money out of our pockets. How on earth is he going to push through welfare cuts? How?
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
How, Stephen? How?
Stephen,
Well,
you know these Labour MPs. Are they going to vote for welfare?
Well, there's a lot of Labour MPs who will actually simply look to short-term advantage. And the thing about the winter fuel payment and possibly when we actually come to the two-child benefit cap is that it's very, very easy for politicians to actually be like the cushion that bears the impression of the last person who sat on it. And you get this thing called 35 degrees now, which you send all these emails to MPs. They'll get inundated and flooded with it. But if you have a look at what's happening, France is in chaos. They're going to have a general election.
Worse chaos than us.
Germany is in an appalling situation at the moment. All over Europe, we have a huge problem.
Yeah.
And it's not just because we have a specific situation in this country. You know, I have to say, Trump has actually destabilised the world economy. However, in this particular one, I think Andrew's put very perceptive
Hold
point.
on a minute. Why is Donald Trump getting the blame for that? Because of the tariffs.
Tariffs.
I'm sorry, but it's also the uncertainty and the fact that he's trying to get rid of the Fed. The Federal Reserve is actually the cornerstone, the bedrock of the world financial system. The dollar is the reserve currency of the world, not the yen, not the euro, the dollar. By trying to sack completely, I don't know why, the head of the Fed, he's actually destabilising it. And so that affects world currency. The cost of borrowing goes up because people look...
But the head of the Fed won't take any notice of the president on what to do with interest rates, and Donald Trump thinks he should.
I appreciate that, but I think the important point we've got down here is that by welfare cuts, we have a bloated welfare state in this country.
Massively bloated.
It is bloated. So we've got to do something about it, and we simply have... Now, look at France. The reason why France is having a general election is because they tried to cut 18 bank holidays a year down to 15 bank holidays.
Yeah, I know.
And probably
there were riots in the street when they tried to...
But they were burning sheep.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable.
Yeah. The old Gilets jaunes and all that.
Well, I hope that we're not... I think one of the things that slightly worries me is that we're talking about pensioners taking a hit earlier on. I mean, pensioners of my generation are pretty well off at the moment compared to a lot of other people.
Well, speak for yourself.
He's going to get rid of the triple lot now, are you?
Yeah.
Well, I suspect that may be under threat.
Can I also point out this headline, please? Reeves sees borrowing costs reach 27-year high. So now I'm going to reverse my argument and say the budget should have happened next week, because this is catastrophic. You could have the IMF coming in any minute now and telling her what to do. It is completely out of control. It is completely out of control. I'm sorry. I know more about economics than the Chancellor of the Exchequer. I got A-level economics, and I'm saying that Rachel Reeves is economically illiterate compared to me.
Well, if we're going to start flagging, I've got a Bachelor of Science degree from the London School of Economics and Economics.
It doesn't show.
I don't know. I conceal it fairly well. But look, the reality is that when there's a threat that Rachel Reeves might actually lose her job, the bond markets actually collapse. So because people in the world economy, particularly where people are actually talking about investing in this country, see her as a figure of stability.
Yes. But another strange thing has happened. These three ultra-tax experts...
What, Darren Jones?
Torsten Bell at the head of them, have been appointed by the Prime Minister. That normally would make the pound strengthen against the dollar because they think,
it's gone
at
down
least
1%.
money's going to come in tax-wise, and instead of which it's dropped.
It's got 1%. But Torsten Bell I think we'll hear a lot more about him. He's a very, very interesting character.
He's a very dangerous character.
Well, no. He wrote a very, very sensible book, which is actually very, very similar
What was it called? Tax Everybody to the Hilt.
You know the book Abundance, which everybody's talking about? I mean, Torsten Bell is one of these people who says that politicians, particularly on the left, are more concerned with the process than the outcome. And he said it's until people actually see the benefits, it's no use telling people that they're better off under Labour. You've got to actually feel it in their pockets.
Well, they won't feel it in their pockets.
Of course they won't.
Well, no, but he's saying that's what we should, instead of, making these sort of grandiose statements, we should actually...
Gentlemen.
He's a bread and butter politician.
You stunned me into silence, quite frankly, when you told me that by the end of November, people are ready for Christmas. What?